In the questionnaire you mentioned that you have a plan to ensure equality for women. What is that plan? And I think more specifically also, how does that ensure that women of color are included in that mix? Because a lot of the policies that are being talked about don't necessarily meet some of those needs as well.
So a couple things. I do have a comprehensive plan on women and women equality. Let me tell you, I mean, obviously, I think this race is really exciting that there's 2 women in the race. I think it's actually great for the party. Thank you. I think many of you who follow this story know that there's some angst about it. I don't quite see why. We're the Democratic Party. We're the party of choice. But also, I think it's very important that multiple women's voices are out there. I have a non-traditional female path to this election. I oversaw the National Guard. I've worked with the military first responders. I do have to say to this audience that Scott Brown used to report to me. It's just sort of fun to say. When I oversaw the National Guard, he was a colonel. Come on, you guys, that was pretty good. Thank you. Thank you. I guess he was just up. Now he's what is he? He's a senator in search of a state or something like that. So obviously, my presence in the race in a non-traditional female path. I want to make every issue a woman's issue. In other words, women fight wars. They are firefighters. They're the nurses and doctors that are helping our children get vaccines. They are the police officers who are protecting our children. They are obviously the caseworkers at helping at DCF. Every one of these issues is a woman's issue, and I will promote that from the State House, that there's no issue that is not ours. Secondly, obviously, I think representation of women on boards and in institutions, of whether it's my own boards that I would oversee as governor or boards in the private sector. I think the state's purchasing power, the state's contracting power ought to be used to enforce not just women, but women and minorities, including women and minorities. My Gateway City plans actually focuses on women and minority-owned businesses for that reason. They're the in so many instances, they are the sort of the linchpin of economic growth for our gateway cities. So those are just a number of ways. I'm obviously, given as a civil rights attorney, I did Title IX cases. I brought the federal government's, this was under Clinton, so it was a while ago, but brought the federal government's first complaint against a school district for bullying. We called it peer-on-peer harassment. Thank you. This was a football team essentially harassing the girls out of school, and a school district that was getting Title VI funding was ignoring it. And so we sort of, this was how great Governor Patrick was, is that he approved this. I had to get his approval because it was so unique of a case, and that you bring it, and then the school district says, oh, I guess we have a responsibility. So part of government's role is also using every single tool that you have to push opportunity and equality. And then finally, those of you who follow my what I have done, women in the military has been very, very important to me. I was part of the VMI and Citadel litigation cases, opening up public institutions, military institutions to women. They are now about 20% female. That's not 50%, but that's progress from zero. I was a Pulitzer finalist. I worked for the Globe a couple years based on my series of pushing for women with equal pay and equal status on combat. We've lost 200 women to the wars, and apparently we did so when they weren't in combat. So was very grateful when the Pentagon changed their rules. So a number of ways in which I would push that.